Hey, good evening. Good evening. Good to see all of you. I'm Cindy Baker, ADHD coach, and I'm the creator of the 3P Power Program, which stands for Positive, Prepared, Productive, all for entrepreneurs and other creative professionals that have ADHD or those type of symptoms. I help with time management, productivity, organization, all that good stuff. So we got a great topic tonight. If you are watching live, if you could say hi in the chat. If you're watching from the Facebook group, if you could say hi in the chat, that would be awesome. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you're watching the replay, just say hashtag replay. I do circle back around and read the comments of the people who are watching the replay. So let's make that comment thread, whatever platform you're watching this on, please comment. Let me know if you have a thought, an idea, an aha, a takeaway, a question. If something you really like, you can put some emojis in there. But let's get that chat active. So good. I see some folks. So we're going to talk about making decisions, how to stop overthinking things, and how to make timely decisions, because everyone that well, not everyone, but most people that I work with in my coaching program say that making decisions that they feel good about is kind of an issue for them. So this week, we here in Memphis, where I live, a suburb of Memphis, we had a couple of really bad thunderstorms. And so I'm going to use this example. There was a lady named Sarah, and she was watching water just gushing from her gutters, and she knew she needed to get those cleaned out, and a couple were broken. She needed to get it fixed. So she had a decision to make. She called several contractors and companies, and each one of them gave her more detailed information. She started to get a little overwhelmed, a little confused. Their quotes were wildly different. So she thought, well, I guess I just need more information. And she just kept on getting more and more information, but she wasn't any closer to replacing her gutters than she was 2 months ago. So she's been doing this for 2 months. And her son, who's 10 years old, was getting ready to go to summer camp. And so it was March, and the deadlines for summer camp applications were coming around the corner. And she had her dining room table was just overrun with brochures and internet printouts and things like that. And her son liked all of them, but he can't go to all the camps, right? So it just turned out to be this really time-consuming project. And she wants to make the best choice, but the camp spots are filling up very quickly. And so the more she tries to make the perfect decision about everything, the more out of control her life feels. Time slips away, the deadlines are missed. And it's not because of procrastination, which we've talked about on here before, but it's because of her anxious perfectionism that's preventing her from making decisions. And so some of you may relate to that. If you can relate to that type of dilemma, if you could put that in the chat, that would be awesome. Just let me know in the chat if you can relate to that. And so it's another lady, Aaliyah. Okay, she also struggles with decision making. It overwhelms her, and the more information that she gets, the more choices she has, and the more frustrated and confused she gets. She's trying to plan a family vacation, and she just got analysis paralysis. You know what I mean? She's overthinking, and in the end, she doesn't really make any decision. She still hasn't planned it. And now you've got kind of random Bob. He just copes. He's just trying to avoid decisions altogether. He never really feels sure of the correct decision, so he just lets other people and events direct his life for him. He's passive, in other words, and he thinks that doing it that way will mean that he could avoid the responsibility for the outcome of the decisions. And not surprisingly, Random Bob is married to a take charge woman who plans and organizes his life for him. So anybody relate to Aaliyah, Random Bob, or Sarah, the first one? Let me know in the chat. So it looks like a lot of people can. And perfectionism, that's a big one that I see with ADHD people. So you've really got three kinds of problems with making decisions. And the first one is that perfectionism, perfectionistic indecision. For some people, perfectionism is a way to compensate for the disorganization, the distractibility, and the impulsivity of ADHD. And we call that the compulsive compensator. Okay. The compulsive compensator. And so they compulsively, like maybe they're compulsively neat, because if they are not, then things will just disappear. So it's like a overreaction in one direction. And for other people, it's a response to criticism. So you've got the second one is really more of the impulsive decision-making person. And so that's a person who just acts without fully considering all the possible outcomes, like they leap before they look. This kind of person, they make a decision based on emotion and not really based on reason. And later on, they a lot of times regret it, or they may take forever thinking it over, talking to different people, Googling stuff. And then all of a sudden they just make an impulsive decision in the end, just to get it over with, because they're just tired of dealing with it. And so there's this difficulty with executive function in our brain for a lot of people. An executive function part of our brain is responsible for gathering information, evaluating it, considering possible consequences, and ranking the choices, all of which involves decision making, right? And so this impulsive person they're just more like, oh, let's just flip a coin, and then you got Bob. He makes decisions by default, because people like that avoid decisions altogether. So let's say, for example, let's say you're filling out college applications for your child or yourself, and you can't decide, you just keep putting it off. And so kind of subconsciously, you're sort of hoping the deadline will pass on a few of them, because then you won't have to say no. You can just be like, well, that one's out because I've missed the deadline. So you let a circumstance make the decision for you. So all three of those, they're not really effective ways of making the decision, especially if you're listening to me and you're an entrepreneur. You need to be a leader. You need to make really wise decisions on a regular basis. So those are not great strategies. So some ways around that, or some solutions, if you've got that first one, that perfectionism decision block, what I recommend is to kind of block in your options, or some people say fence in your hunting ground. So what I mean by that is you set some parameters. So like, let's say the summer camp situation, you might have a time limit fence or block. So the camp decision deadline, you make an appointment with yourself. You say, by this time, I'm gonna quit searching, and I'm gonna make a decision based on what I've got so far. And that deadline has to be before all the camp application deadlines are in. So you block off time to research. There's not going to be a perfect choice ever. So you make the best decision that you can given the time that you have. So it's like a time parameter. or you might want to have a budget limit. And that automatically reduces some choices, right? Like I said, this week we've had some really bad storms here and where I live, and one of our windows is leaking. And we've patched it, but we're going to need to replace the window. And so I had no idea that there were so many different kinds of windows, but we have a little round part on the top, which makes it's I guess a specialty window. And evidently that's really expensive, I just learned. And so our budget is automatically helping us eliminate some choices, because there are some really high-end windows that just aren't in our budget. And so we've set that limit and that fence. And so that reduces the number of choices. It makes it a little easier. You might have a physical limit. So you can like set up something physical to know when it's time to stop, like when is enough. So like the lady who's trying to plan a vacation and she's got these brochures from travel agent or whatever, she can have a little basket, and once it's full, she can't take anymore. She has to decide from what's in that basket. Or you have a one box for decorating ideas or something like that. And so when that container is full, you have to stop gathering information and ideas, and you have to make a decision. Maybe you have a numerical limit. So let's say the person who's going to replace the gutters, 3 estimates. They're going to have 3 estimates, and that's it. And then they're going to stop and decide between those 3 instead of getting 10, which is overwhelming. So, hopefully that helps a little bit. It does help cut down on some of that perfectionism. The second example was a person who was just more impulsive, because they just had the decision overwhelm, just way too much information. And so then it was just like the impulsive, what the heck decisions that just results from frustration with not deciding. It's like, oh my gosh, I just got to decide already. And it's a reaction to too many choices. So you've got kind of a passive escape. Oh, well, the cost is too high. But you can look for ways to reduce overwhelm if you're overstimulated. Like shopping malls just are overwhelming to me. So I shop online or in a smaller store with fewer displays. You limit your options before you decide, and you identify the most important factor. Like, is the most important factor price? Is it convenience? Is it appearance or whatever? And then you focus on that one factor to help make your decision, and trust your own values. Don't get distracted by too many other opinions. And then reward yourself along the way. So who's relating to this? Let me know in the chat if you have struggled with being impulsive because you just needed to hurry up and make a decision, or maybe you were a perfectionist, or maybe you're just passive and kind of let things happen. Which one of those describes you more? I'm just curious. Not all important decisions are equally important at the same time. You know what I mean? So sometimes we make it harder on ourselves. We get in our own way. Planning by nature is a left-brained activity. So if you're right-brained, that doesn't really work because it doesn't use your creativity or access your intuitions. So hopefully those were some helpful tips. Honestly, if you're really, really struggling with it, I would advise you to hire a coach. And I happen to know a really good one. But I have a group coaching program that I have a training on making decisions. And in addition to that, we meet every week on Zoom. And a lot of times we'll talk through decisions that one or two of the members need to make that week. And that really helps. So if that's something you're interested in, just let me know in the comments, or you can email me, cindy@cindybakercoaching.com. And I did want to let you know, next week, I have a very special offering for you. I have a paid workshop called Distraction to Action. That's all about how to, it's an interactive workshop, and it's all about how to match your schedule with your values, how to overcome distractions, how to get motivated, stay motivated to get things done. It has a workbook. We do activities together. And it's super, super popular and interesting. I've sold in the past a recording of it, but this time I'm running it live. And for a few more days, I'm only charging $47, which is normally $397. So, and that includes the workbook and everything. So if that's something you are interested in, the URL is turn distraction to action.com. And I'll put that in some of the chats, but go ahead and sign up for that. If you can't attend live, I can send you a replay, but it's much better live. And that's going to be Wednesday morning, the 21st. So hopefully I'll see some of you there, and hope this was some good Monday motivation for you. And if you have any decisions that you have to make this week, like I said, if you're really, really struggling with that type of thing, reach out to me, and let's see how we can work together so I can help you. Have a great rest of your Monday night. Bye.